Hello. I thought I was going to do a ranking talk about and rank the movies that we saw in our first um, weekly themes. We call them weeks of 2026. And in January, which I cannot say, we always watch miniseries or shows or whatever. But from week 6, we started with our weekly themes, so to speak. And the first, if you want to know more about that, I talk about it in the introduction video, which is linked in the description. And I'm going to have my glasses both up and down because I hate that it's reflecting everything. Yeah. But I think I'm going to do it like I think I'm going to talk about them in the order I have ranked them. Or should I talk about them in the order I watched them? I'm going to talk about them in the order that we watched them, I think. No. Should I have decided this before? No, I will do it in the order I have ranked them. That's easier. And it's kind of almost the same order. But our first theme was Mexico, as it is called in Swedish, Mexico. Mexico. And we were focusing on movies from 60s and one in the 70s from Mexico. And they are in the Lucha Libre category. And that means I don't know a lot about it, so don't quote me on it. But they had a lot of wrestling, and then suddenly, if I understand correctly, they didn't allow to show that on TV anymore, so they incorporated it into movies instead. So there is usually wrestling in weird places in these movies. And no, I'm going to talk about them in the order we watched them, actually. And the first movie we watched were the Panther Women. It looks so cool. I love these. These are from Indicator, all of them. And we have all of these in our world cinema, cult cinema category, but this one we had to move to horror because it's more like a horror movie. And this one is focused more on, obviously, women more than men, because usually in this category of movies, there's a lot of movies with the character Santo, and he's not in these two I'm going to show you. But yeah, this is very kind of gothic, and it's black and white, and it has a very interesting and beautiful atmosphere. And there is a wrestler in this as well. There are women wrestlers, of course, but there's also one which is not called Santo, he's called something else, but it kind of looks the same. And it takes a little while to get used to. There's a man walking in with a mask, and I can show you what it looks like. Oops. He looks like this, kind of. Okay, that was the dogs. But he has this mask and, just pants, not pants, underwear. It looks like he's running around in underwear. Okay. And what you think it's kind of ridiculous, but then you realize Batman, he's kind of ridiculous as well, and Superman. So you just have to get used to this is how the hero looks, and we will just deal with that. Okay. but it was really fun and more like I said, horror. Um, it works kind of. The Panther Women, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like women transforming into panthers, or if it's just a costume, because they look like they just put on cat ears. It looks ridiculous, but the movie kind of shows it like we are supposed to believe that they are turning into animals, and that's really stretching it, I would say. But it's fun, kind of a bit creepy and atmospheric. So I was really pleased, and there's some wrestling in it, but it wasn't so much that I got annoyed. It was kind of entertaining. So that one we watched first, and I think that was. God, dogs are. I don't know if you can hear it, but the dogs are sounding. um, but then we watched this one, the Batwoman. Oh God, and it's exactly what it looks like. But how cool is this? I just love it. This was like a mix of uh, Batman, Frankenstein, James Bond, a lot of James Bond, Creature from the Black Lagoon, all of that mixed together. And when I say Batman, I mean Adam West Batman. Really, really entertaining, and interesting. Not horror at all, more action. Like I said, James Bond. And the only weird thing is that she looks like that when she's chasing dudes around, and yeah, weird. It's just a little weird. But yeah, not that much wrestling, I think, in this one. A little less than the other one, if I remember correctly. It was not that long ago we watched them, last week, but I've already seemed to have, forgotten them. But really good. Then we watched 3 Santo movies, and we watched the first ones from this box set. Enter Santo. I'm just looking. Okay, it looks like that. I am. This contains Santo versus Evil Brain and Santo versus Infernal Men. Yeah, it says the first adventures of the Silver Masked Man. So they are from 61, and they are black and white. And apparently these are what's it called? Oh my God. They were filmed in Cuba, and they didn't finish altogether. They had to leave just days before the revolution or something. I'm not good at history, but that was what it said. So if you want to see how Cuba looked before, Fidel Castro, then you can watch it here. And the first movie, Santo versus Evil Brain, yeah, kind of okay, but the villain in this one is actually the one that is interesting. What was his name? I wrote it down. Joaquin Cordero. Probably butchering that name. But he's really interesting. He's a really good character, and Santo is not that big of a deal. He's in it, of course, but yeah, that's not why this movie was interesting. It was really entertaining, but it was really a confusing story. It was like you can really feel that they didn't finish the movie. I can say it like that. And that's the problem with Santo versus Infernal Men. That movie is like 50, no, maybe not 50, but at least 40% footage from the first movie. And some scenes you are like, okay, this is the exact same scene, but I don't understand why, because they are not using that character later on in the movie, so you don't understand why the scene is there. And some scenes are exactly the same, but they have another dialogue on top of it. So it's like, what? So weird. And they have so long music numbers. And since they are the same as in the first movie, you are like, I already know this, and it's not interesting, and it's just weird. It's weird. And the story is more confusing, I think. And there is very little of Santo. Sorry, not pointing there, pointing here. So yeah, a bit disappointed. It's kind of enough to see the first one, I would say. And then the last one was from later. The first two were from 61, but this one is from 70. But it's the same guy that plays Santo. And this one is called Santo versus the Riders of Terror. And this one is a Chile Western. So it doesn't take place in, the 70s or 60s. It takes place in, the time where the Western is supposed to be. I don't know. And it was really interesting to see, but I prefer spaghetti Western all day. And Santo could just not be in the movie. He doesn't make that much difference to the story, which is kind of weird. So I was hoping to someday maybe see a Santo movie where he actually is the main guy. And it's interesting because this movie was also released under the name Lepers and Sex, and the only difference is 8 minutes, and it's a scene where they just have, it's a softcore sex scene, kind of very short. Yeah, it doesn't, I don't understand why it's in there, and I don't understand why they made that version. It makes no sense, but you don't have to watch that. It makes no sense. But we had to just check out if there is some other differences, but it's just that scene. So yeah. And the makeup they have, the lepers, it doesn't look good. I really hope Tom Savini doesn't watch this, because you can see that it's just put on top like this, and it's almost, the glue is almost falling off. So I guess the budget wasn't that good, but yeah, it's interesting to see, and it was fun to watch a Chile Western. Yeah, and if I were going to rank these, I would say this one is the best. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. It's really entertaining, and I would gladly watch it again. It was really fun. So that is number 1. Maybe I should have started with the one I like the least, but no. This one is the best. Then we have The Panther Women. This one was also interesting. I would consider rewatching it. And I would love to see more with this type. I don't know why, but the ones with the female lead is more well done. And then we have, and I gave that 3.5 as well, I think. Yeah, gave that one a 3.5 as well. Then we have Santo versus the Riders of Terror. I gave it 3. Yeah, yeah, nothing more to say. That it was okay. And then we have these two, and the best one is of course Santo versus Evil Brain. Gave that a 3 as well. And then Santo versus Infernal Men, I gave it 2, because you know it's the best parts were from the first movie. So yeah, but it was really interesting and fun to be watching this category of movies, and I would love to be watching more. But this is the ones we have actually a box with 2 vampire movies that are from the same time period, I think. Maybe we will watch them in October, but yeah. So we have some more. I don't think there is wrestling in those, but I could be wrong. Yeah. But that was that week's theme, week 6, and my ranking of these movies. And if you have watched any of these, you please tell me. And yeah, if you have some recommendations, please tell me. So bye.